Excellent. Good morning and welcome to today's Heat Mind DH Knowledge Exchange Forum. Today we will be focusing on alternative investment models. As we all know, oftentimes we have a project, we have a challenge, and we have a plan. But how to finance that plan, how to facilitate the recuperation of waste heat into district heating and help cities become greener and more efficient. So today we're going to discuss this. I'm not sure we're going to find problems, but hopefully you'll come out of here with some questions and some new ideas. To join us to get the discussion going, we have three fantastic speakers. Nadine Fien is head of the Department of Urban Sustainable Development for the city of Göttingen, and she studied environmental engineering, and her task is to answer to strategic questions for achieving climate neutrality. Good morning, Nadine, and thank you for joining us and providing us for the real life challenge, I like to call it, the real end users and the challenges we're facing there. Because oftentimes in these European projects, we have great research, great development, but we're in a bubble. And so you're going to help us land these challenges, land the solutions that we're developing in our project to a real case, real life. And you're one of, City of Göttingen is one of the 8 case studies we're working with in Heat Mind DH. We also have Adrien Henry. He's an investment manager at Kyotherm, based in Paris. You have many years of experience in financing energy and real estate assets and has a master's of management at ESSEC, the business school in France. Good morning, Adrian, and thank you for joining us. Last but definitely not least, we have Bernhard Geratz, Senior Project Manager in R&D at Solid. He has a background of mechanical engineering at the Technical University of Graz in Austria and University in Leuven. I'm not going to try to pronounce that other one because I'm just going to butcher it. I'm sorry. Since for 15 years, he has been a professional in renewable energy sector, and today his role as Senior R&D Project Manager and Grant Manager at Solid. So as you can see, we have great problem owners and experts. So let us see how the discussion will go. This knowledge exchange forum is brought to you by Heat Mind DH. Our background is that district heating can contribute to achieving the objectives of the European energy transition to a net zero economy by reducing our dependency on fossil fuels, increasing the incorporation of renewable energy, and breaking the barriers of hindering adaptation of low-grade heat sources. So oftentimes there are many heat sources available in the city that would allow cities not to burn gas or fossil fuels. The challenge is how can you recuperate them and how you connect them. Through Heat Mind DH, we look at the mapping, we look at the assessment. As you can see here, we help plan, but you also need to finance it. And this is where we come in, and we want to develop business model and draft contracts for actual implementation of these resources. We're going to look a little bit more about that later on today. We develop business cases and support to do this. We develop business cases and support district energy utilities and municipalities in achieving their energy efficient targets. But that's enough about us. To learn more, you can come and visit our website. Now let's get to the interesting part. Göttingen. Nadine, thank you very much again for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about your perspective? Where do you stand, and what are the investment barriers and challenges you face today in your city?
Yes. So good morning, everybody. Thank you, Emilia, for introducing me. So for today, I present the issues we face as a city administration implementing the heat transition from fossil fuels to climate neutral heat and maybe a possible solution. So the next slide, please. So legal foundations are crucial for the administration. So the Act on Heat Planning and Decarbonization of Heating Networks and the Building Energy Act form the basis to our work. The next slide, please. So first, let me show you the status quo. This is Göttingen, and the current energy demand of the whole city of Göttingen is about 1,600 gigawatt hours per year in total. It's split into gas, oil, and district heating, and don't mind, there is a little error in the distribution. In total, we have 101%. But what is important is it's clearly seen that 97% of our heat comes from fossil fuels, as the heating networks are also primarily fueled by gas. Um, the data is aggregated to privacy reasons, so you have these big blocks, and this mix of energy can be compared to other cities that have the same number of inhabitants and the same structure as the city of Göttingen. So this is normal. Um, the the strategic approach is very high level and it's not very detailed. So we took a closer look to one of our city districts. This is the next slide, please. Yes, it's called the district Middleburg. Mm, we have 3,100 inhabitants and about 1,700 households. And it has about 60% private ownership, which is important due to success of implementation of heat transition. On the next slide, you can see the status quo of energy efficiency in the district Middleburg, which shows a precisely recorded renovation status, and the optimization of efficiency was determined for the cover of the buildings and the heating technology. So we found out that most of the buildings have not been fully renovated, and the renovation potential is very high, especially in single family buildings the owners live in themselves. In the left lower part of the map, you can see it in the orange color. So the next slide shows the renovation. No, one back, please. Thank you. Shows the possible energy efficiency after renovation due to regulations. And this is one of the barriers. It is very expensive for the owners to renovate their homes. And the energy demand remains at average 100 to 130 kilowatt hours per square meter and year. And furthermore, it is expected that owners will not fully renovate their homes due to financial reasons. And the municipal administration has very little impact on the rate of the renovation. So it can only create incentives as the Göttinger Klimafonds or Climate Fund. So on the next slide, the case study showed that it would be feasible to build heating networks in the blue and green zones because the density of heat lines is very high there. And the problem is forecasting future heat demand. It is very difficult here as it determines the temperature at which the network must operate when it's implemented. A high temperature network is different from a cold district heating network. Both require significant investment from energy suppliers to convert energy sources for heat supply and expand the networks. This leads to excessive demands and high energy prices for customers. So the idea is to develop an instrument that spreads the burden across multiple shoulders, as shown on the next slide. Thank you. We've called it Göttingen Energy Region. We have 4 regional stakeholders and 2 of them are energy suppliers that want to approach investments in renewable energies as project companies. So, and what is important is to emphasize here that local stakeholders, such as cooperatives, can participate in this network. This can be viewed as an investment opportunity or as direct marketing for them. From a strategic perspective, altogether, the advantage of a local heating network would be that a cold local heating network can also be used for cooling, which will be important in the future and will address the reservations private individuals have about centrally supplied district heating. Though the prices for heat consumption will definitely be more expensive than gas-fired heating, at least for the time, which influences most people's investments decisions. By offering a heating network, we make it easier for property owners to choose climate neutral heat. This is the approach. However, this only applies to owner-occupied properties. Landlords generally have no financial interest in converting their heat supply, as they derive no benefit from the investment and cannot pass this on their tenants. Since there is no obligation to join, uncertainty is currently very high on all sides and requires a great deal of communication and direct communication. This ties up a lot of resources that the administration mostly do not have. So the project of district heating can only succeed if it is economically viable. This requires a large consumer who will consume heat consistently over a long term. This could be a large building that cannot achieve sufficient renovation depth within 15 to 20 years to ensure the network's economic viability. So on the next slide, so in summary, what are the obstacles? The issues to a successful heat conversion are diverse. First and foremost, there are unclear legal regulations. You don't have to stick to a district heating network if you don't want to. And the decision to connect is voluntary and difficult to enforce at the municipal political level close to the citizens. Existing properties have different heat requirements than new buildings, and the economic viability is difficult to demonstrate because future heat requirements also play a role. The simultaneous investments in the conversion and the expansion of the existing infrastructure is overwhelming the energy suppliers. And one solution to this could be the energy region model, which spreads the burden across several shoulders. So if you have any further questions, feel free to ask or contact us.
We've looked at the problem owners, the need. So let's look at the Heat and Mind DH approach. How are we planning on addressing the investment part? Because we talked about there's the social part, there's the communication, the mapping. Taking a focusing on the alternative investment models. Bernhard and Adrian, can you tell us a little bit more about the work you're doing here and maybe provide some inspiration on possible solutions?
Thanks, Emilia, and thanks, Nadine, for the introduction, for the yeah, for the topic. It's basically it's really important nowadays to find solutions, not only technical solutions, but also solutions that drive the business. And this is basically where we come from the last decades, focusing on technical planning, but as a project will be profitable and beneficiary, you also need to make it positive from the financial planning. Then it comes in operation or in construction, then in operation. So the last years, the main focus of R&D projects was mainly on technical planning. And now within the Heat Mind, the Age project, we also keep an eye on the financial planning. And that's the reason why we are here, why we share experiences and ideas, because this only together in synergy is able to make a project fly. Therefore, looking back, what are the business models that were profitable in the last years, and what are the business models that may address the challenges that operators, district heating companies do have. So, whoops, sorry. We have in the last years, it was very common that a district heating company makes a tender and gets the asset via EPC, engineering, procurement, construction contract. But as the for several reasons, technical, financial risks, the district heating company may say, okay, I have not the competences, I have not the resources, I don't want to take the risk at my own. I want only what I need is the energy. Therefore, heat as a service is another operation opportunity. And um, what we now will have a look on is how such a heat as a service is structured. So cash flow, service flows. Then we compare the EPC and the heat as a service business models directly, and have a look on two use cases with a slightly different focus. The one is more on tariffs, and the other one more on the back again to the technical issues of decentralized volatile renewable energy sources implemented in a district heating network. Therefore, we now see such a cash and energy cash and service flow diagram. We have the dotted lines, the service flow, and the lines are stand for the money flow. In the middle, there is the purchaser, so the district heating company. Let's call it, because we link to Nadine's presentation, that might be a special purpose vehicle like the energy region company. Um, in earlier times, this purchaser asked for a consortium for construction, of course, needing for financing solutions, and they lend the money from the financing, paid the consortium for construction, they get the service for construction, then the plant is in operation, revenues go back for the debt financing, and maybe additional revenues are generated by CO2 trading. And what this was the EPC model. For several reasons, and especially taking a look at the how we deal with the risks, both risk of operations, risk of financing. There might be another solution, and this solution is shown as here. So the purchaser goes out of this original cycle. The purchaser only gets what he needs, and this is the energy. And for this, he pays the service. And this is the heat purchase, or defined by the heat purchase agreement, in German, Wärmeliefervertrag. And this is the solution that we have also experiences with operating solar thermal integrated in district heating networks. And just to say a couple of words in this HPA, of course, there are the boundary conditions defined. There are the tariffs defined. That's a very crucial document for both parties, of course, and especially when you look in district heating companies, they are mainly publicly owned. There might be the issue of debt equity ratio. So via such a solution, you can have more a better financial power for investing in such assets. Right, this is the big picture, and to sum up again, it's beneficiary for taking the operational and financial risks for the district heating company. If somebody else, if a special purpose vehicle is offering a heat purchase agreement, and and with the result that the district heating company can directly get their renewable energies raised, the share raised, and is on path of the decarbonization. Right. This is the summary slide from my side. So Adrien will now compare the EPC with the HPA business models directly, please?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you, Emilia, for introducing me. Thank you, Bernard, for the previous part, and thank you again, Nadine, that thing has left. So yeah, I will focus more on the structure of the project and on the financing side of the project. So as mentioned so on the left part with the blue box, you have the HPA, which is the solution we are trying to promote, and on the right part with the gray box, this is the traditional solution. So as mentioned by Bernard, it's the EPC. So there is no upfront capital expenditure, and I will insist on this one because that's the main burden of our clients. When we do project, most of the time, we are approached by the EPC company or by the final beneficiary. In your case, it will be the district heating company because they cannot support the investment in the project. So that's the main benefit of the HPA. It's to remove the upfront capital expenditure. On the financing side, since it's not the district heating company that will borrow money or look for equity, but it will be the SPV, which is called in our case the ESCO. The bank will size the debt, so the amount of debt that will be given to the project will be sized on the project's future cash flow instead of the company's assets. So if a district heating company is going to see a commercial bank, and ask for funding, ask for money, the bank will look at the balance sheet of the company. They will look at the asset. They will look at the revenue, and they will cite the debt on this. And most of the time, if you're in activity for like 15, 20, 30 years or more, the debt ratio are not so good, and you're a bit tight, and don't have much capacity left. Whereas the ESCO can size the debt on the future cash flow, and the ratio, so the difference between debt and equity, is higher in the ESCO. So that's the third line. The quantum is higher on the HPA ESCO model. And since it's debt, since banks are very, very, very risk averse, they will look at guarantees. So that's another burden that we are trying to remove from the clients. There is a very limited recourse in the HPA ESCO model. So you, as a district heating company, if you're trying to borrow money from the bank will try to take guarantees on your assets. Maybe if you belong if it's only a company part of a bigger group, they will look at guarantees from other companies in your group, and basically they will try to get guarantees everywhere. Whereas in the ESCO model, it will be very limited because the SPV, the structure is new. There is only the assets that produce the energy. And so the bank will not be able to size anything else. So this brings another topic, which is the risk allocation. Risk is very central in my activity, and we are trying to distribute the risk to all the counterparts and not concentrate all the risk into someone's hands. So again, as a district heating company, in the traditional structure, in the traditional scheme, you basically bear most of the risks. Whereas if you only buy energy, there is less risk. I don't think I will say much on the coverage on the financial ratios because it's been mentioned earlier. The ownership, it's pretty clear. It has been covered by Bernard. And yes, maybe one last point. You don't need it's broader on all projects. It's not strictly related to the district heating company, but the in the HPA model, so there is an operation and maintenance contract with the SPV, and you basically don't need to mobilize human and financial resources. You only pay for the service. And in the two models, of course you have grants. So that's the balance is the same for both models. So I'm gonna quickly show you one of the case studies. So we had this case study. We have this project in the south of France. So it's a waste heat recovery from one of our clients, ArcelorMittal, which you may know. So this industry and this plant in the south of France had a lot of waste heat, like many industrials. They did not optimize the activity, so they need heat at some point, but they waste heat on another hand, at another end. So we basically recover this heat. And sorry, I just my my computer is gonna shut down. I just quickly need to plug in the charger. Sorry, really sorry.
While Adrian finds and connects the charger, there is a question that Bernhard, maybe we can take as we take this pause. Or
Adrian is back again.
Adrian is back.
Yeah, I'm
Great.
back. Sorry, it's the risk of the live performance. So yeah, like I was
I'm glad
saying,
it doesn't happen only to me. Thank you.
so yeah, I was saying, so we were trying to give value to this heat, and we were trying to give value to this heat. So we finance the equipment that allowed to recover the heat and um, to direct the flow of heat into ArcelorMittal's operations. But there were many heat wasted, and part of that was not even needed by Arcelor operations. So part of that heat went to a very nearby district heating operated by NG, I think. So we basically finance everything. We've made the whole package. So we implemented the SPV. We have contracted the EPC contract, the UNM contract. We had grant from the region, and in the end, we only offered heat to the district heating, whose sources was the waste heat from ArcelorMittal. Next slide, please. So yeah, that was basically the scheme. So EPC and operation and maintenance with Schneider. We got grants from ADEME and the region Occitanie. Insurance. We made the whole contract, and we only offered heat supply agreement to the district heating, which was operated by Scape in this small town of Saint-Chély-d'Apcher in the south of France. And I think you will. We also need to show how the tariff is structured to understand really the difference, because in the end there is only one price. So of course you as an individual, when you have electricity bills or gas bills from your provider, there is one price, but behind that there is a lot of different services. So on the left part of that slide, we have the HPA. So it's the structure we are trying to promote. The final price is 60 euro per megawatt hour, and this includes the feedstock that is needed. So it doesn't concern only district heating companies, because we have biomass project where any project that need feedstocks to be burnt or to be used in the process. So this includes feedstock. This can be fixed or variable depending on who is taking the risk of volumes. You have the P2 is the operation and maintenance. We also have the major maintenance. And finally, we have the financing. So financing is basically the price of the capex, the price of the investment that is split over the duration of the contract. So there is only one contract, one interlocutor, unique price, and that reflects different services. And this is what the clients see on their bill. And maybe one last thing on this HPA. I've mentioned that we can take the risk of volume. It really depends on the parameters of the project, on the profitability of the project, and the whole risk matrix. Sometimes we offer a fixed price, even though the consumption is changing through time. It really depends on the project. I could expand on that if you have question.
Thank you, and I will finalize with one case study from Solid Solar Energy Systems in Austria. We all know such situations. We have a district heating network. This is a particular stages of the district heating network with the pressure visualized in winter. So we have here red is bad. These are is the region where there might be a under or not enough supply. So there is decentralized conventional fossil fuel supply in combination with biomass. Well, that happens a lot of time in Austria. So and this city in Mürzzuschlag, they need more, or they were looking for more renewable energy sources, and we implemented in 2 stages in solar thermal plus storage capacities, and taking in consideration that all the district heating network is supplied well, so with a high quality in terms of temperature, and this solution is operated via heat as a service. There is one special purpose vehicle that is offering the energy to the district heating network. And this is how it looks like. And having this tangible idea of solutions, I want to close the presentation, having an overview on all the district heat mine district heating partners, coordinator Euroc Research. Marco Cozzini is the leader and in this discussion online. And thanks for feedback. Welcome. Thanks for the presentation, for the discussions, and
but we're not done yet. Now it's